shock, you know, and we can't have a distress.
What were the injuries, sister?
Right leg broken, ribs severely bruised, wrist fractured.
No head or internal injuries?
They were both wearing seatbelts. They suffered whiplash whenever the car crashed, but their heads were unharmed. This is the room. I can give you 5 minutes and no more.
I'm obliged.
This is Sergeant Franklin, Mrs. Crichton. He'd like to ask you a few questions, but he'll not be here long.
Morning, ma'am.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
Pretty grim.
I can imagine. Nasty experience.
Have you seen Mr. Scott?
I spoke to him Monday. He was very worried about you.
Could both have been killed. We were meant to be killed. When are you going to catch this maniac?
We're no better place now than we were before the weekend to discover who's behind this unpleasantness.
Unpleasantness? That was attempted murder.
Mrs. Crichton, don't think I'm unsympathetic. You've had a terrible time. But I need your version now of what happened on Sunday night.
My version? My version? Are you suggesting there's more than one possible version of what happened?
Mr. Scott tells me he thought a car was following him. He drove into a lay-by and watched it go past. He remained in the lay-by for about 5 minutes and then took to the road again. Then you fell asleep and he was listening to the radio. When he became aware of what he was certain was the same car following again, that he woke you up when the car's lights were switched off, that the car accelerated, overtook you, and swerved across your path. That Mr. Scott had to drive off the road, you bounced over the verge and hit a tree.
Yes, that's precisely what happened. But what Mr. Scott probably didn't tell you was that at first I thought he was imagining things. Oh, I was tired and fed up, and I thought he was being neurotic about the whole thing. And I was proved totally wrong. Did he tell you that?
Mr. Scott's been under considerable strain for the past few weeks. He sounded at breaking point when he telephoned me from that cottage.
Well, of course he was upset. We both were.
What I'm getting at is this. Did Mr. Scott drink at all?
Just
No. Please let me finish. Had he been drinking just before you began the drive back to Ferriers? Could he have overreacted to a piece of careless driving? Overreacted to such an extent that he drove off the road needlessly?
Morning, Headmaster. Come in, Mr. Scott.
thank you.
Well, now, how are you?
Oh, we soldier on, sir.
Looking well. Looking very well indeed. Must have a robust constitution. But I was sorry to hear about Mrs. Crichton. How's she coming along?
Very well, fortunately. Her leg and wrist are both in plaster, of course, but she'll be able to go home tomorrow.
That's good, that's good. Charming lady. It must have been a dreadful experience for you both.
Well, if we were any closer to discovering who's at the back of it, we'd feel a good deal easier in our minds.
A baffling and disturbing affair. If I can be of any help.
It's very kind of you, but the notion of motiveless evil isn't one I'd have entertained until this business started. I see no point, no reason behind it, and that's what's so disquieting.
Have you, to your satisfaction, ruled out the possibility that someone, anyone, connected with this school could be responsible?
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so.
Because if you have any suspicions whatsoever, I should want you to consult me immediately.
I'll do that, of course, Dr. Everett.
Yes, I'm sure you will. You're a valuable and valued member of my staff, Mr. Scott. And what affects you affects us all.
Mrs. Clayton! Mrs. Clayton! What the devil's been going on out there?
You didn't order it, sir.
Well, of course I didn't order it. What possible use could I have for 50 hundredweight of cement?
Well, that's what I told the delivery man when I got back from shopping. He dumped all them sacks and he was waiting for someone to pay the bill.
So what did you tell him?
I said I didn't know nothing about no cement and that you hadn't mentioned it, sir. Well, this man, he got very angry and said he wasn't going to load it all up again and he'd take it up with his boss at the end of the day. It was very nasty, Mr. Scott.
Was he, by God? Where did he come from?
Clements by the foundry. He was shouting and that. Oh, he was horrible.
Clement. Right, whoever he is, I'll talk to this Clement shortly. I'm sorry you've had all this nonsense to put up with, Mrs. Clayton. Would you get us a pot of tea while I make a telephone call?
Yes, sir, of course. I'm really sorry.
No. You have nothing to be sorry about, and I'll see you get an apology from this firm personally.
Oh, no need for you to bother, sir. I'll just make that pot of tea.
Christine, Alan Scott here.
Oh, hello, Mr. Scott.
Chris, I've got to see you and Tony tonight.
Oh, I don't know if I can manage
If
tonight.
I don't talk to him, the police will. Understood?
Well, yes, but...
Here, tonight, any time after 7.
didn't want to come here in the first place. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Chris.
Now let's get this straight. Apart from malicious damage, my car's a write-off. There have been 2 attempts on my life. And a friend of mine has been severely injured. And like it or not, you are the only person I can think of who has the remotest reason for wanting to harm me.
What are you on about? What kind of reason?
Jealousy. Simple as that. You know that Christine spends time alone with me, and you know I'm trying to ensure she wins a place at Oxford. If that happens, it's very short odds you'll lose her.
Well, so what? Look, I don't like being accused of this kind of thing, mate.
Tony, please. You promised.
Well, but you get into trouble once when you're a kid and people are on your back for the rest of your bloody life.
Look, I haven't got time or the inclination to start pussyfooting around your sensibilities, Parrish. I'm going to ask you one question, and if you don't answer me, I'll see that you answer to the CID.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Tony.
I am a very angry man. And if you want to throw your weight around, you've come to the right place.
Tony, please answer him.
Got no reason to accuse me of bloody murder.
Then just tell me what you were doing last Saturday and Sunday.
To take a running jump, mate.
Mr. Scott, he was with me all weekend.
I don't understand it. I simply don't understand.
Mr. Clement, how exactly was the order placed?
By telephone,
When?
Monday morning, early.
And I was in hospital on Monday morning. Now, who took the order?
Jilly, one of the girls. Look, here's the order form. 50 hundredweight sack cement, 35 open walk, name of customer, Bradley.
Bradley.
Yeah, and the telephone number, 98474.
And you accepted the order at face value. Didn't check back on that number?
Well, that quantity of cement on its own is unusual. But if we cross-questioned every customer phoning an order in, well, this is the first bogus one we've ever had. I mean, it's crazy.
about Tony. The way he behaved this evening. I mean, he was very upset.
He behaved disgracefully.
I'm afraid I panicked when I told you lost your tempers. I was scared Tony was going to go for you, so I lied. I wanted to get him away from here. Quickly. I'm sorry.
Sit down, Chris. You're telling me now that you weren't with him any part of the weekend?
No. Oh, I'm certain it had nothing to do with all these attacks on you. But I'm scared he's back with the old gang again.
Now, what does that mean?
Oh, the boys he used to go round with over at Langby a few years ago. After he got into trouble, he stopped seeing them. But a couple of months ago, one of my friends told me they'd seen Tony and 2 or 3 of his old mates coming out of a pub together. Well, when I asked Tony about it, he flared up. He said it was none of my business. And last weekend, he promised to take me to a party at Stansted on Saturday. At the last minute, he cried off. Said he was going to Snetterton to see some Formula racing.
And did he go to Snetterton?
Oh, I don't know. When we left home after seeing you just now, he stormed off. He said he was fed up of being pushed around. But when he gets into a mood like that, he won't speak to me for days.
Are you in love with him?
I don't know what I feel. I just know that I'm happier with him than with anyone I've ever known. And when he won't speak to me, he dies inside me.
What I'm going to say will be unpalatable, but I shall say it all the same because I'm concerned for you and your future. You have the ability, the initiative, the personality to find for yourself an interesting and honorable career and do something eminently worthwhile with your life. But these next 12 months are vital to you if you're going to get the right start. And in that situation, Tony is bad news. I'm sorry, but he's bad news. If the time you should be spending on scholarship is spent worrying about him and what he's up to, then it's a gross indulgence and you're wasting my time and yours even thinking about university entrance.
It isn't as easy as that.
Well, of course it isn't. Nothing worthwhile is ever easy. But the choice is straightforward and only you can make it. Until you write that exhibition, you can give priority to your work or to that young lout. And I warn you, the police are going to be interviewing him very shortly. Yes?
And Inspector Durham is here, Mr. Starr.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Clayton. I was expecting him. Come through, Inspector.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm very glad to see you.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Clayton.
Good night, sir.
Sergeant Franklin's brought me up to date, of course.
Yes, he's very thorough.
Yes.
Sit down.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me, how did you arrive?
Beg your pardon.
Did you come in a police car?